Libreria San Jerónimo, we have a partnership where now is the first publisher company, the first bookstore in Nicaragua that they want to have a joint venture with us. They want to support English teachers in Nicaragua. So this is the best news because now teachers, if you go to Libreria San Jerónimo, you will receive discounts. So because you are teachers of English, you are members of ANPI, you will receive a special treatment. And that is really, for me, it's really good because it's the first bookstore interested in having this type of partnership with la Asociación de Profesores de Inglés. And at the same time, part of this partnership is trainings. So we will have presenters for our national conference from Express Publishing. And let's welcome today Ganna. Ganna is her second time in Nicaragua. Yeah. She loves the weather. It's 39 degrees now. Okay, but let's welcome Ganna. And there are many activities, many trainings that I know this company will bring to Nicaragua.
Imagine you should have all seen Harry Potter, the movie, right? Okay, remember that episode, I'm going to play it right now, when they have that shift from a non-traditional way of education into a very traditional one. When they have that new professor who's coming and starts moving all the professors or removing the professors from their positions and establishing the traditional way of the language teaching. Okay. Anyway. So, I was speaking about Harry Potter, and this is the episode that I wanted you to say very quickly, okay? Remember, the new professor, she's coming there to make the educational reform.
Ordinary visiting level examinations. OWLs, more commonly known as owls. Study hard and you will be rewarded. Fail to do so and the consequences may be severe. Your previous instruction on this subject has been disturbingly uneven, but you'll be pleased to know from now on you will be following a carefully structured ministry-approved course of defensive magic. Yes.
There's nothing in here about using defensive spells?
Using spells? Well, I can't imagine I would need to use spells in my classroom.
We're not going to use magic.
You will be learning about defensive spells in a secure, risk-free way.
What use is that? If we're going to be attacked, it won't be risk-free.
Students will raise their hands when they speak in my class. It is the view of the ministry that a theoretical knowledge will be sufficient to get you through your examinations, which after all is what school is all about.
And how's theory supposed to prepare us for what's out there?
There is nothing out there, dear.
So, is the school only supposed to prepare for the examinations? That was a question.
Yes.
So the school only prepares for the examination?
I mean, are you talking about the video? Are you asking about the video?
Yeah, on the video, yeah, the vision is clearly, the vision of the ministry is that the school is supposed to be, or should be, preparing the students for the examination. However, other language classes, or let's say at the schools, are they really supposed to be preparing only for the examinations? No. What do we basically, when we teach students the language, what do we basically want them to develop, to learn, to become? Why do we teach the language? What do we teach the language for? Yep. To use it, okay. What else? Why else? Yes?
We apply the situation in a real context.
Okay, to apply it in a real life situations, yes. What else? Why else? To communicate, okay. In which situations your specific students need to communicate? Okay, well, you have, how old are your students? How old are your students? Did you ask them what do they want from their language classes? Yes. What is it?
For example, some of them, they are already working, so
Yeah.
they need to learn language, specific language for their field.
Okay, okay. For their field of work. So they are searching for something very, they go for something very, very specific. Anyone else who is teaching kids, for example, children? Preteens? Yeah, 1, 2, okay, congratulations, 3. Why do your students come to the classroom? What do they want from their English classes? What do they learn the language for? To communicate with each other, okay, any other reason? Because communication is way too broad, right? There are very specific communicative situations. You can communicate in a cafeteria, you can communicate in the doctor's office, you can communicate when you apply for a visa during the interview, that's also the communication. So there are very different types and kind of communicative situations, and we want to prepare efficient students. They might need their English for work, as in your case, you mentioned that. They might need their English for pleasure, let's say. However, all those are the communicative situations, and they all have very different features, but there are loads of things, surprisingly, loads of things they have. So, the communicative competency is the correct and appropriate usage of language to accomplish communication goals. Those goals, as we have discussed, may vary and may vary greatly. When we deal with a very fixed syllabus, with a very fixed program, let's say you work at a school. Who works in school? School, primary, secondary, high school, okay. Who has to work with a fixed syllabus? You already have a program. So you have to teach according, who of you teaches according to the program? Specific program, just one? ¿Todos los demás hacen lo que quieren? Okay, who teaches according to the program? Only 1, 2, 3, okay, 4. Alright, so asumo que el resto trabaja o elabora su propio programa. Oh, wow, go with the flow. Okay, today I woke up and I decided that my students will need to go to the doctor, let's say. So let's do the doctor's appointment. That is what it technically should be like as a purpose of the lesson, but this is not the way we actually deal with the program. The program usually mentions a set of specific communicative functions that should be developed within certain situations. So, in order to accomplish those communication goals, the language users have to possess grammatical knowledge and the social knowledge, right? Tradicionalmente, y es desafortunado, what we teach is the grammatical knowledge. Mostly, okay? Porque el programa es un set de simple present, después vamos a present continuous, después vamos con simple past, irregular verbs, después vamos con simple past irregular verbs, la. ¿Alguien ha enseñado así? Honestamente, 80% of Latin America and the entire universe is teaching the language up until today this way, and this is wrong. Technically, this is wrong. Okay? I mean, you still teach grammar, of course. You still have to teach the grammatical knowledge, like syntax or morphology or phonology, but they are not the predominant when it comes to the language teaching. What dominates when it comes to the language teaching? Communicative situations. Pero lo primero va everyday situations y simple present en este caso, that is just subservient. It goes after. Alright. Students need to communicate. They need to know what the language is for. They need to know why they are learning certain rules. It's not first we teach the rule and then we teach the application. That should be vice versa. Okay. Students have to know that there are specific communicative situations. There is specific language required, like grammar and vocabulary and syntax and many other things. And this is when they start realizing how useful it can all be. However, in order to develop efficient communication, there is also social knowledge, okay? This social knowledge is how and when to use utterances appropriately, all right? Words put together quite often do not make sense unless they are put in a specific context, all right? Ustedes no van a llegar al banco y no le van a decir, oiga, fíjese que necesito dinero, préstame, ¿no? Well, technically, this is the sense is going to be just the same, but you do not do that. You come to the bank, you write actually the formal letter por medio de la presente, me gustaría solicitar y mis documentos de apoyo son tales, tales y tales. All right. En ambos casos piden dinero. ¿Sí? Nada más que en el primer caso nadie se los va a dar, en el segundo probablemente. Okay? So the point might be different, but how you embed it, this is the point might be the same, but how you embed it might differ and differ greatly. Greatly has to do with the skills in using this knowledge, right? When interacting in everyday situation, how? This is not just what. What se lo acabo de mostrar. Préstame dinero o hacer una solicitud formal. En ambos casos lo piden. Nada más que en el primero no lo reciben, en el segundo sí. That is the skill on how to use the knowledge. Alright. And how to use this knowledge appropriately when interacting in those everyday situations. So in here we have this contrast. Okay. On one hand, we have the knowledge, grammatical and social knowledge, right? What one knows about the language and about other aspects of communicative language use. All right, that's the first one. On the other hand, the skill, how well one can use this knowledge in actual communication. All right. If we try to break the communicative competencies into four important aspects or four important parts, that will most probably be the linguistic competency, four competency areas. Linguistic competency, social linguistic competency, discourse competency, and the strategic competency. As it's unspoken rules for social interaction. Yours are likely to differ from the local rules, and you need to know the difference. Okay? Otherwise, you cannot be considered being a competent user of the language. Discourse competency. Knowing how to interpret the larger context and how to construct longer stretches of language so that the words make up a coherent whole. If you are planning to persuade someone about something, then you have to structure your speech in a certain way, leaving the most important arguments for the end. If you are planning to open up a debate, then you would have to use the arguments for and the arguments against, and most probably to end up with a point in the middle. So that's going to be something like an introduction, paragraph 1, points for paragraph 2, points against paragraph 3, a common point, the last paragraph 4, okay? This is how we structure the speech. How are the words, phrases, and sentences put together to create conversation, speeches, email messages, newspaper articles, okay? So when you introduce somebody, how do you do that? You ask the person who the person is, whether the person knows about the subject matter, and then you go for the opinion of the person, okay, quite often. So there are certain specific rules, certain specific structures on how things should be made. For example, your friend is not feeling well. Act out your dialogue in pairs, right? So, dear, greet your friend, ask him about his or her health, and express concern. ¿Sí? ¿Se acuerdan de express concern? Es por eso que lo necesitamos. So all this, we put all this together, and we make it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, okay? So with our students, we can develop longer stretches of communication. Explain, you don't feel well, I feel terrible, I feel awful. ¿Sí se acuerdan? Okay. You don't ask what is wrong, okay? Oh, what's the matter? También lo hemos pasado. Explain that you have a cold or cough or stomachache. Ask if your friend has done anything about it, like taking vitamins or whatever. Say that you haven't. Then advise to see the doctor, advise to see the medicine, to take the medicine, suggest something. Then agree with friend's suggestion or respond to friend's suggestion, okay? Todo esto, cuando lo hacemos piece by piece, you see we had the lexical component, we had the pragmatic component, we had the social, cultural, social linguistic component, and we end up with this discourse component when we put all those pieces together. So all of a sudden it all makes sense, all right, for a quality communication. For instance, hey Joe, are you okay? You don't look well. No, I feel awful. Oh, what's wrong? I've got a cold. Have you taken some vitamin C? No, I haven't. Well, you should see a doctor. I suppose you're right. I feel really sick. Now, I want you to sit in pairs. Por eso les dije, chequen muy bien con quién está al lado de quién están sentados. And I want you to develop the conversation. Somebody feels sick or does not feel well. The peer is asking, okay, student A is feeling sick, student B is suggesting or asking, expressing concern. Hi, okay, so that's serious. But I think that ready, it's not. Hi, are you okay? You don't look so good. Are you okay? You don't look well. I remember oh, what's wrong? Oh my God. You should go to the doctor. Tomorrow you can feel better. Yes, tomorrow. Good, thank you. Hi Julio, how are you? You don't look well.
No, I feel awful. It's terrible. I think I have a cold. I'm not sure.
Oh my God, you should go to the doctor.
Actually, I did. I went to the doctor this morning. He gave me some medicine.
Oh, okay, so you should be taking it. Maybe tomorrow you feel better.
Yes, I hope so. Thank you for asking.
See you soon, Julio. Thank you so very much. You're complicated. That's good. I mean, as English teachers, you complicate it a little bit, which is good. Make it a bit more complex. Anyone else who wants to show us? Stand up. Yeah.
We are in the teacher school. I had to cancel my class.
Okay, good. Lorna, are you okay?
I don't think so.
What's the matter?
One of my students gave me a cappuccino, and you know I'm lactose intolerant, and now I'm in trouble. I'm in hospital.
Okay.
Not really, but I got horrible cramps.
You need to go to the toilet?
I think so.
Oh my God. Don't worry, I'll take over your class.
Okay.
Go.
Oh, thank you. You're sweetie. Strategic competency, knowing how to recognize and prepare communication breakdowns. This is what I was telling you, when you stop understanding somebody, when the information should be repeated, okay? How to work around gaps in one's knowledge of the language and how to learn more about the language and the context, okay? So, how do I know when I've misunderstood or when someone has misunderstood me? All right. What do I say then? How do I say something when I do not know how to say it? Okay. How do I say something when I do not know how to say it? Panic, okay. Well, don't panic. There are words for that.
Sign language. Sign language.
Sign language. Explain it, exactly. Well, or you can say, what's the English for... Exactly, what's the English for, well, any word, floor, for instance, okay? What's the English for el piso? Or, no sé, techo colgante, for example, when that's something more complex, okay? So you can just explain that, okay? Or show that. Or how do you do that? Or how all those ways to repair communication are, not sure, let me see, let me think, and so on and so forth. Let's take a look at this one. Hesitation, for example. Notice that hesitation? No. Oh. Or, well, you could say that not really, not exactly, I suppose, I guess, sort of, kind of, in a way, okay. One nice example, at a certain point of my life, I decided that I wanted to go before arriving to Latin America. I got a scholarship to study in Japan. Yeah, so amongst many things about Japan that I could say, nice things, good things, not nice, but different things, there is one. In Japanese, a Japanese culture would never allow them to say no openly. Well, in our case, that's okay. Rather, even in case of European culture, we are a little bit more open. We can say no, just like this. In Japan, they would quite often say that's complicated. Okay? When you hear that's complicated, that means no. Take it as a no, definitely. However, they are unable, like for instance in Europe or in the States, people say, well, no, I don't think so, sorry. Okay? Imagine you are in the following situation. Use the sentences to avoid giving a direct answer. Okay? For example, you want to know when some repair work will be completed, or you want to know the cost of having double glazed and fitted, or someone you don't know very well wants to move in with you. Okay? Imagínense, tiene un departamento, se busca a alguien con quien vivir para compartir gastos, ¿no? Vamos a tomar esta opción. You are single, okay? And you have that friend, not friend, you have someone at work, a workmate, that who suggests to move in with you. Okay, so how do you do it in English? Yeah? What can you say? I'll have to get back to you on that. Or I'll have to get back to you about that. Let me think. ¿Cómo lo dicen en español? Ahí te aviso, ok.
Dame un tiempo.
Déjame pensarlo, dame un tiempo. O sea, le dan las largas. Ok. ¿Alguna otra opción? Vamos a ver. Okay. So, in English, I'd rather not say, I can't give you an answer right now. I'll let you know. It's out of my hands. Or I'll see what I can do. Or I'm a bit busy at the moment. I can't say for certain. Okay. So all those phrases, this is how to say no, but keep being polite with the person. Okay. What are the suggested ways to develop communicative competency? And those are plenty. Role plays, simulations. Son parecidos entre sí, role plays and simulations. The difference are minor. Improvisations, those are very interesting. Yeah? Negotiation activities. Problem-solving activities.
Usually costs 15 charge me payday what?
The first one. Okay. Good. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I want to buy a train ticket to Leon.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I'm afraid we don't have more space in the train.
Really? I really need to be in that place, as soon as possible. I need some business that I need to make, so can you help me with that, please? I really need your help.
Let me check another option. Oh, this is another option. You can take the train to Chandega and then take another train. But that's what take another.
Really? Is that the best thing they have? No, I don't think that's working. Anything else that you can do for me? I'm really feeling desperate. Well, I've been thinking about it. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. So, was it urgent or wasn't it urgent? She just gave you the option, you turned it down.
Early time will be quite.
Okay, thank you. Which situation have you chosen? The second one. Okay, one of you is the teacher. Okay. Another one is a parent. So? I'm the teacher. Okay.
Hello. The reading lesson that we were practicing also today. Very, very happy and cooperative. So I wanted to congratulate you. And I would like you to talk about the study words and the practicing this model Friday. We have a study first. So I really enjoy that. I congratulate you for this good work.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Excellent. Thank you very much. I hope to know good news about him and his behavior as well.
I'm excited because we have a long, strange hair. Okay, now I want you to get your books, please, and look at today's lesson. Look at today's lesson, please, and think for a minute, what did you learn today? Okay, close your books. Now I want you to tell each other what you learned today.
I learned that earthquake is motion.
That's great. Today I learned to use who, for example, and the girl who is wearing black clothes is Marie.
Today I learned how to use past simple. For example, yesterday I had testing history. I learned to use past simple and past continuous. For example, my brother was watching TV when the phone rang.
When performing communicative tasks, focus should be on conveying a message and negotiating the meaning. Use materials that can be meaningful and challenging, okay? Input +1. So, always increase the challenge of the task, but slightly. No respondan de aquí hasta acá, that's impossible, but just slightly. Because if the task is too boring, students are not going to be interested, they are going to become like, they will feel apathy. Okay, if the task is too challenging, students will feel anxiety. This is a normal thing. So try to measure and to grade the level of difficulty of the tasks. Por eso empezamos, con eso yo empecé la charla de hoy. What do the students need to learn? What do the students want to learn? You all told me my students want to communicate in a foreign language. They want to carry out the tasks, the everyday activities, the everyday tasks, or tasks related to work. Give instructions, asking for directions, shopping, buying tickets, making complaints, apologizing, requesting help, expressing sympathy, writing a mail. Y podemos pensar en 20,000 más of what students are supposed to do. Pero con eso tienen que empezar su clase, no terminar necesariamente. Whenever you start the lesson, state the communicative task that students are supposed to develop at the end. Okay? This way they will see how everything that they are learning, all this lexical knowledge, which is vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, contribute to fulfillment of this task, for this communicative purpose. This successful communication and this communicative task at the end has those steps. Yes? What are those steps? What is this proper scaffolding? La palabra scaffolding la tuvieron que haber visto 1001 veces. Scaffolding existe en la enseñanza de lengua desde siempre. Alright. But how to put it into practice? Because theory is very nice. But behind the theory, for this theory to come alive, we need this practical aspect. So, what do we start with? Related vocabulary. We have to have the structures. The task is somewhere at the top, but how to get to this? The useful language. We also need the situation in which the language is used. We need to model the language. So, we have related vocabulary. Remember, health problems, then the advice, medical professions, where do people in the pictures work and write the prescriptions. The grammar, remember the second one are the structures. If, then, if you don't stay at home, you will get worse. If you have a headache, take an aspirin. Water turns to ice, and so on and so forth. Okay, so the structure which is needed. After that, talking about health problems. How to talk about health problems? Todo eso ya lo hicimos, nada más que lo hicimos de una manera distinta. But we all did that, asking about health, complaining, sympathizing, responding. Okay. Slightly alter or extend the situation. Eso ya va para los niveles un poco más altos. Okay? So slightly alter or extend the situation. The customer is hard of hearing, the chemist and the customer are old friends. As the customer is about to pay, he or she realizes that the wallet is gone. Use graphs. Add expression and movement. Add humor. ¿Qué hicieron ustedes? Ustedes alteraron la situación, ¿no? So you had teaching situation, for example, you at the end of the day did not buy the ticket and you wanted to see whether you wanted or not. You complicated situation as well from the point of view of structure because you added past situation to it. Your level of language proficiency is much higher. So the higher is the level of language proficiency, the more alterations, in fact, you can go for. As the opportunities to express their likes, dislikes, agreement and disagreement, ideas, feelings and emotions. Give the learners the opportunity to synthesize knowledge, think critically and creatively, and express themselves. Cooperative learning, information gaps, class projects, no todos son los diálogos y simulaciones. Information gaps, class projects, peer and group work activities, and the synergy tasks. Expose your learners to the authentic materials as well. Alright, through magazines, through the internet, through the music. Also use courses that provide a variety of authentic or semi-authentic materials. How is that communicative competency measured? According to the common European framework of reference, there are those can-do statements that students are supposed to develop depending upon their level of the language proficiency. There are certain things that you are supposed to be able to do, to write, to comprehend, to express, to debate and argue about, right? Depending upon whether you are a basic user, an independent user, or the proficient user of the language. Remember that the competency describes the learner's ability to apply basic skills in situations that are commonly encountered in everyday life. Remember that learners' skills should be adaptive to the changing needs of the modern society. This is one of the ways of the modern communications through either chat or WhatsApp or different types of chat. Telegram, WhatsApp, normal chat, and so on and so forth. Is it communication? Of course it is. Okay. Since language always occurs as a medium of interaction and communication between people for the achievement of specific goals and purposes, it should be taught in line with the social context in which it is used. Okay? As I told you, language is a living beast, it is a living creature. It is changing year after year. New words come in, old words go out, new phrases appear, new phrases become appropriate, and this is absolutely normal. So, learning to communicate by communicating. using interesting and relevant material, and employing tasks that engage your students in language production, all that develops their communicative competence. Okay, having said that, I'm just in time. This is 12:30, almost 12:29. Okay, do you have any questions? Yes.
I wanted to highlight something that was very subtle in your presentation. There is a video that you presented in the, I like the grouping technique that the teacher used. I don't know if like the rest noticed it, but in one of the videos, and I'm assuming that's what the teacher did, you know.
Yeah.
That she probably asked the students to, you know, to pair up.
Yeah.
But she was not the one who told them like who exactly will go with who, right?
Yes.
Apparently she told them like find someone who has something in common. And that was very interesting because some of them said, I'm working with this person because like we have the same school background. I'm working in like the reasons why they got together, they were so different. I mean, one of them was I think because they had the same school background. The other was because they had like the same kind of hair. Somebody else the same shoes. I mean, that was pretty creative. You know, that gives them the chance. And also, I liked that not just did she let the students, you know, get together on their own, but they have to explain why.
Exactly.
That's
sobre eso platicaremos en el tema que se llama critical thinking. Les va a gustar mucho. Critical thinking básicamente es explícame el por qué. Si haces algo, si niegas algo, si afirmas algo, explícame el por qué. So that is, you are absolutely right. Probablemente no se escuchó muy bien al inicio. Sí, la profesora dijo, pair up, depending upon, with those who have things in common, or whatever in common with you, with people you can work together. That's why I told you, be very careful, because the person you are sitting next to is the person who's going to be working with you for the next hour and a half. So yeah, and that's, remember, another very useful technique in the same video, at the end of the lesson, to make a certain, you know, repaso, lo que se llama, pero de manera individual. No lo hace usted, lo hace los chicos.
You said a lot in my class. Something you touched on very important was to identify with the social surroundings of the individual, and they are able to learn a lot more with that when they can identify with what they're doing. Here they eat gallo pinto every Friday or something like that, you know, and other things that would relate, so you can teach other verbs and other things related. If they can identify with what, and that's with what they're doing in their everyday life, and that's very, very helpful.
Look, there is one very important, ahorita ya no me da chance de sacar este slide, y es otro tema más, y es un tema mucho más complejo. Es el proceso de aprendizaje como un proceso neurológico. Aprendizaje lo es. Okay. Why is it that important? We do not memorize anything, really memorize, not like working memory. Working memory, yes, for a year, for half a year, for 10 minutes, we can do that. But we do not internalize, learn anything which does not have a specific sense and meaning. Les voy a dar un ejemplo muy sencillo. Todos tuvieron que pasar el examen de física o química o ciencias, ya no sé cómo se llama, en la escuela todavía, ¿verdad? Siendo alumnos. ¿Qué tanto nos acordamos ahora de esto? Prácticamente nada. Entró en la parte de working memory, lo trabajamos como working memory, hicimos el examen, desechamos. Learning happens the same way. This is why loads of students do not remember structures in English, because this is the same thing. Lo trabajamos, desechamos, hicimos examen, desechamos. Nosotros mismos programamos nuestros cerebros inconscientemente de ese modo. Es un tema muy largo, muy complejo, se los contaré algún día, espero que les guste.
Yeah, just a comment. I think that the big problem that we face in classroom is giving instructions. Sometimes we teachers, we're supposed to be giving the right instructions, but students are like, what? Say it again.
Yep.
This is another problem that we face all the time.
I will tell you one thing. Yo personalmente no soy la partidaria de, vamos a hablarles en inglés desde el mero principio. There are schemes, there are a system of total immersion, for example, that do justify this. En el caso de que usted, es mi opinión personal, hay otros que pueden respaldarla, pueden no estar de acuerdo, no insisto. En mi opinión personal, si ustedes están trabajando con los alumnos niveles A1, A2 todavía, Lo importante es la naturaleza del task. This is what you want them to do, okay? En sí, el instructivo perfectamente bien lo pueden decir en mother tongue. Abren la página 7, vamos a trabajar el ejercicio tal. No hay problema, no hay drama si ustedes lo hagan. Aquí en la clase no se trata de let's understand the teacher's instruction. ¿Sabe lo que sucede? Lo que usted dice. La mitad de los alumnos, ahí sí, usted ya los perdió. Usted ya los perdió porque ni abrieron, ni entendieron, ya se sintieron desmotivados. Acuérdense, si el nivel de challenge es muy alto, el nivel de ansiedad es extremadamente alto. Okay, so the height of challenge goes directly or correlates directly with the level of anxiety. So think well about that. There is no, in my personal opinion, there is no drama if you ask your students, you know what, abre el libro en la página 20, vamos a trabajar el ejercicio 7. Lo que a mí me importa es el ejercicio 7. A mí no me importa de que tengan que forzosamente estar tan atentos a este tipo de instructivos, ¿no? Entonces, esto no le hace bien al cerebro. Como cuando tienes un nivel de ansiedad tan alto, químicamente sucede un proceso dentro de tu cerebro que te impide a realmente comprender, que te impide a internalizar y darle sense and meaning a lo que se trabaja. Entonces, esto seriamente es a factor filter. Es lo peor que les puede pasar en una clase, la verdad, porque es un bloqueo automático. Yeah. More questions? Yes.
Now we write our syllabus, we use more the word competence than objectives, right?
Yes. Yeah. There is no, formally, how you put it, there is no difference. What matters is what kind of competences you are placing in that. What matters is the contents in this case and how you are going to deliver the classes. Pero hablando de solamente escribir syllabus, that's a very tough job. I congratulate you that you decided to do so. But I suggest that you revise very carefully the competences that are supposed to be developed by the students. If you want, you can take the proper common European, see the general objectives there, break them into pieces depending upon the time limits and your program objectives per se, es decir, quiero que alcancen una 1 en 2 años. So hay muchas variables, la edad, carga horaria, frecuencia, etc. Yes. Yes. With the competences. Objectives are much more, as a word, objective has this connotation, has this very narrow connotation, while the competency is much broader.
Okay, thank you. You know, me gustaría agradecer especialmente al señor Freddy Abarca, que es el que nos trajo a esta profesional, esta experta, right? Ucraniana.
Sí.
Yes. Y en un futuro muy cercano, ¿verdad? Vamos a trabajar con certificaciones, national certification, ahí van a ver la manera cómo hacerlo y ayudar a los maestros de inglés y materiales para las conferencias regionales. La próxima semana vamos para Bluefield, vamos a estar en la conferencia del Caribe, vamos a estar en Bluefield, entonces ellos nos van a apoyar con materiales también. Y otra cosa que les digo, que la conferencia de Managua, la regional, junto a Masaya de Granada, es el 6 de julio, ya se los hago saber, va a ser, esperamos 500 docentes, que es la semana de vacaciones del semestre, que no vamos a necesitar permiso del Ministerio de los profes están de vacaciones. Entonces, el 6 de julio es la semana que arrancan las vacaciones del semestre. Ya se los digo, julio, Managua. Diciembre, the National Conference, Ticatito, December 10 and 11. Ya garantizamos presentadores internacionales, vienen de Estados Unidos, de Centroamérica, que van a estar con nosotros. Y les anuncio, 2016, julio, el próximo año, tenemos a toditas las asociaciones de Centroamérica, el Caribe, México, Venezuela, Argentina, Brasil y Colombia van a estar con nosotros en Nicaragua, compartiendo experiencias y presentaciones. Entonces, Nicatizo 2016 ya no va a ser en diciembre, va a ser en julio, aprovechando todas esas delegaciones que vienen a Nicaragua.
¿No van a ser como la sí? Okay.
Vamos a hacer eso. Les informo que soy presidente, ahorita me nombraron por 2 años presidente